There is a new Commander deck coming out and it's called 20 Ways to Win. So in this video I'll be going over it, not in its entirety, but just the ones that have been released so far. But give my thoughts and opinions on the potential that is possibly in this secret lair and seeing, is it the hype or is it not worth even talking or looking at when it comes to this type of kind of deck purchase type of thing. But before I go any further, a word from our sponsor, which if you've watched any of my videos, you know it's going to be me and my small little Etsy shop where I make t-shirts and hoodies in multiple sizes and different colours with funny card-like themed comedy stuff. So if you like me or what I do and want to help out this channel, go get yourself something nice, and everything that you buy helps with the channel. So you're probably wondering, but everything's not released, why are you making a video on it? I'm making a video on it because I may make one when it's fully out, talking about how they market it and see how they're going to push this thing or this item forwards, and talk about the potential that it has compared to what we will get in the final project. So this is technically, you can see it as a part 1, and then me going, this is a chance to be this good, this good, or this good with these cards in it. And then in the next video, I'll be talking about, is it as good as I originally thought, or what changes possibly they could have done to make it better.
What is 20 Ways to Win?
So what is this 20 Ways to Win deck? It is a secret layer product, so it's probably gonna estimate, I'm gonna say 120 to 150. It is a 100 card deck with a commander in it, with a theme. They have made a few of these before. I have bought the flip one and I kind of wanted the angel one, but I ended up thinking no at the end. In my opinion, at that time, it wasn't really worth it, but now looking into it, I'm like, should have bought it. But that's just me, I made that mistake. So when it comes to this, they are doing a new commander deck. It will have the tokens for it. It will be a full 100 card deck. Not all of the cards are going to be full art or alt art or anything like that. They usually just do a secret layer, which is like 3 to 5 cards, and then they will just put the rest in the standard art.
What we know about it.
So far as recording this, what do we actually know? We know that there is 20 win cons in it, but we don't know all 20 win cons in it or all 100 cards. So if you're watching this and you're looking at one going, you didn't do number X or thing, it's because it wasn't released as recording of this video. So I'm going to start off with this image here. So they've already said that there is going to be a soul ring in a very cute raccoon art. I'm not the biggest fan of them putting soul rings in a secret layer unless it's a full artifact themed secret layer with an alternate art for all of them. However, because this is a commander deck, having a soul ring in it is going to be a thing. So I'm happy that they are doing the soul ring as an alt art. Depending on the price of this, because I'm only guessing it's going to be 120 to 150, I'm hoping there's going to be more variation of art. I would like it if it was all 20 cards at least, but we'll just see how we go from there. Now with the other card, Goshintai. If you don't know what that card is, it says
Goshintai of Life's Origin, 3G, Legendary Enchantment Creature, Shrine. WUBRGC, return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever Goshintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine you control enters, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. 3/4.
I personally think that this is going to be the commander of the deck because it is a WUBRG deck and gives you the potential to do a lot of things. Now they haven't announced or said that this is going to be the commander or the face card of the deck, and it could be a thing that they have multiple commanders that you get to pick from and play differently throughout the same deck. So let's start off with the different ways you can win with 1, 2, and 3.
1. Dealing 21 or more commander damage to the last opponent. 2. Reducing the last opponent's life total to 0. 3. Having the last opponent draw a card from an empty library.
These are probably the 3 most known ways to win. It is literally doing damage, which is a very easy thing. I think they'll add a few 1/1 counters or ways to power up this commander if this is the commander. The classic then putting all your opponents to 0 by damage or other variations is a quite clear and obvious way to win. And then The third one being making that no one can draw. If they do draw, they lose the game. So there's probably going to be a fair few everybody draw cards, or there will be like a target opponent mills half their deck, and then maybe a copy spell added on as well to make it 3/4. There's many different variations they can do with this. Now I find it weird that they show these two cards where realistically neither of those cards on their own can do any of those three, but it seems to be they're going to show them cards that do that in a more easier way later on. Or it may not be a alt art, the 20 ways to win may just be the alt art cards. Now with number 4 is one of my favourite cards, and I do have this in a deck, and it is
4. Casting Approach of the Second Sun for the second time that game.
If you don't know what this is a very difficult but very worth it sorcery to pull off. It pretty much kind of puts a timer on the game. You play this, put it 7th or something from your library, and then everyone goes, shit, we need to make sure or this game will end. Especially if you have a draw deck, that deck goes even faster. So it's even harder for them to kind of get there. So it's really good to play if someone board wiped and then you played on your next turn, then it does really add a panic to the thing. I've also seen it, and I've done it myself, where you've played it, drawn a few cards and played it on the same turn. That is very difficult to do, but it is doable. I am really loving these raccoon arts so far now. In fairness, I've only seen 3 out of the 3 cards, and they're all in a really cool raccoon kind of different depending on the card art style, and I really do like that, and this seems like my type of deck that I would love to get my hands on. So let's go on to the next one, and the next one is
5. Control 4 or more Biovisionary during your end step.
This is a Simic classic card that is very difficult to play and beat, because second you play one, people are going to jump on that like there is no tomorrow. However, I'm kind of disappointed in this. If you don't know this card, it says
Biovisionary, 1 GU, creature, human wizard. At the beginning of the end step, if you control 4 or more creatures named Biovisionary, you win the game. 2/3.
Now I see and understand why this card is. I have no problem with this being in this deck, because the whole point of this deck is 20 ways to win. It's supposed to be janky and funny. I'm happy that this card is in this because it is perfect for the janky and funky way to play this. I really do like that it's in here, and I can see a lot of people like kind of putting this in their deck anyway if they wanted to build a deck like this. However, my problem with it so far is it is not a raccoon art. It's a weird thing when it comes to me. I think if there is a certain theme with a deck, like, I would rather them up the price a little bit more and have all these 20 cards. This is the first one not in an old art. Number 6 is going to be
6. Control 4 or more demons with different names, and Liliana's contract at upkeep.
Now before I go on to this, I just want to say, if you don't know what this card is, it's a big point in the story, but it says
Liliana's contract, 3BB, enchantment. When Liliana's contract enters, you draw 4 cards and you lose 4 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game.
When it comes to this, I understand why it's in it. I like that it's in it because it is that janky, but my 2 problems with it is there is a secret layer fully based around this where you got this card and all the demons for it. There is also this card, not in a raccoon art. Again, it's probably just me going to be very precise, but when I first seen the 20 ways to win, I was really hoping that they done 20 alt art cards and then up the price. I wouldn't mind that, but the fact that you're getting some of these cards not, or you're getting some of these cards in the raccoon art but not in the main theme thing of it, is not a big motivational thing for me in my opinion. So this is a good thing because of the theme of the deck, but they've already got a secret layer of it, and also the fact that we're only on like number 6 and there are already not 2 alt arts. So hopefully there's going to be more. I'm going to be kind of disappointed if there's only 3. But now we're on to number 7 and number 8. 2 came out at once, and they are called
7. Have 40 or more life and Felidar Sovereign at upkeep. 8. Have 50 or more life and Test of Endurance at upkeep.
If you've never seen these 2 cards before and curious what they are, they say
Felidar Sovereign, 4 WW, Creature, Cat Beast. Vigilance Lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. 4/6 Test of Endurance, 2/WW, Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more life, you win the game.
I have a white-blue deck that is supposed to be one of these type of decks, and every single white card so far has been in it. I have the Second Son and I have these two. I do like that these two are in it, it makes sense. However, at the same time, you already have a card there losing you life, so it's kind of, if you draw this after playing your Lily's Contract, you're kind of like, well, that's no fun. 2, I really like the raccoon art, but kind of annoyed that they showed off 2 and only one got the raccoon art and the other got the standard artist. And I'm kind of like, I really don't like that. I'm very 50-50 on buying this so far. It goes, whenever I see a raccoon art card, I'm like, yes, I want it, I love it. But then whenever I see one of the main cards not being it, I'm like, nah. So this keeps swaying my scales of buying it or not. I do find these two cards are perfect again for this theme of the deck. Now we're on to number 9. Number 9 is a weird one, but the way to win is
9. Control a creature with power 20 or greater and Mayael's Aria at upkeep.
I do have this in a deck. I have not won with it, but I do find it to be a very interesting card. But it is an old card, so if you don't know what it says
Mayael's Aria, RGW, Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control if you control a creature with power 5 or greater. Then you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 10 or greater. Then you win the game if you control a creature with power 20 or greater.
When it comes to this, I don't think it's going to be a very playable card. I actually think it's going to be one of the cards taken out so far, because there's no real way at all with any of the cards shown to be able to make this to get a creature up to 20 power. Now, in saying that, there's so many cards left. We're on the 7th or 8th one. So there's the fact that they could potentially be cards that do this. However, you also need cards to gain life. You also need cards to draw for the Second Son. You also need the demons for Liliana's Contract, and then the shrines as well. So I'm finding that already we're only not even halfway there yet. There's too much going on in this deck that you're either going to lose one aspect of it while you're playing this deck. So if you're like, oh, I want to win with Liliana's Contract, but all your demons at the bottom and you're starting to get the cards that give you life, and if you win by the life total, you win the game, you're like, cool, I've just spent like 20 life trying to get the demons out when I should have gone the other way. It's kind of impossible. I think the biggest challenge with this is going to be finding a good mid-ground of different ways to win without screwing up another way to win. But now we're on to the halfway point, with number 10 being
10. Untap 15 tapped creatures with Halo Fountain.
This is a hilarious way to win, especially with the Commander. But if you don't know what the card is, it says
Halo Fountain, 2W, Artifact. W-T, untap a tapped creature you control, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. WW-T, untap 2 tapped creatures you control, draw a card. WWWWT, untap 15 tapped creatures you control, you win the game.
So in my opinion, this is actually the easiest way to win when it comes to this deck so far, other than Approach the Second Son. However, I am really annoyed that this did not get a old art. Can you picture like a water slide fountain with the raccoons on it all playing in the fountain? Especially because raccoons are known to clean or wash their food. I think this would have been absolutely hilarious and beautiful altar art for it to be. But now we're on to number 11, which is a card I will never try and say in video, but the way to win with that card is
11. Have 13 cards in hand and Triskaidekaphile at upkeep.
If you don't know this very difficult card to read, it says
Triskaidekaphile, 1U, creature, human wizard. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. 3U, draw a card. 1/3.
This I love. I love the art of it. I find it very funny, and to be honest, it does seem perfect for the way to win. I still do think the fountain should have got priority over this, but I'm also not complaining that this got a very fancy old art. So as we know so far, that is all the cards shown out the 20 and the deck has not been released, but I will be making a video when all 20 is out, and I may potentially just wait until the entire deck list is out and give my thoughts and opinions on this so far. But this video is not done because there is literally like 9 or 8 more cards that could potentially be shown before this video is out. I looked up and thought of a few ideas that could potentially win as well. So there were cards like Maze's End, which is a card that I've used to win before. I did have a Landfall Golos deck, and it was one of my favourite decks of all time, and Golos should be unbanned. But this is a really good card for this. Now in saying that, with the cards shown off so far, it's going to be kind of difficult to pull off unless you have a bunch of lands that are out, the Boulder Gates lands and stuff like that. But it is a card that says you win, and I asked a few friends and seen a few people online say this card, and I went, yeah, no, I agree, they have to kind of put this in. With one Simic card, there is a second with Simic Ascendancy, which is a really cool way to win, but so far there's nothing really with tokens, so it's again kind of a difficult thing. I think this is a hard focus card when it comes to winning a game. Then there is Mortal Kombat, again, really good card, but I don't think this is going to be in it, mainly because you need 20 creatures and we're getting also like artifacts and sorcery so far. So I think if there's going to be 20 creatures and all of them have to die, or there's going to be like 23, 25, which is not going to be enough. It is going to be a very difficult card to pull off, but with this deck, anything can go in, so I thought I would mention it. Then with Aetherflux Reservoir, I know it doesn't say you win the game, but you win the game, especially if there's like lifelink involved. This card is absolutely hilarious. It is literally, if there's a way to give this a lifelink counter, you literally just go pum 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 and then you win the game. It doesn't say win the game, but there's not that many cards that just say you win the game, and like the Commander doesn't say you win the game, so I'm kind of like, I'm gonna throw in cards that pretty much just say you win the game. And that puts me on my favourite card out of all of these, the Millennium Calendar. This card I think is a really good potential way to win. I absolutely love it. It is difficult to pull off, but it is doable and I have done it before, and it is one of those funny cards. So I do think a raccoon kind of climbing on a older version calendar would be a really cool old hat for this secret layer. Mechanized production, I've heard people in multiple videos that have made videos of this and talking to friends and other Magic the Gathering players that this is pretty much a must-have card in here, and it is probably going to be printed, and such a demand for it, there is probably a high chance that it is going to get a old art for the secret layer, but we just have to wait and see. Then I picked Nicobolus Dragon God. The main reason I picked this card is because it literally says like everyone loses the game, which means you win the game. I know it doesn't say you win the game, it just says everyone loses. However, there's usually a Planeswalker or a potential of a Planeswalker when it comes to these decks, so that's why I thought if there is going to be a Planeswalker in this, it's either going to be this, or it's going to be the Jace card that if someone, like, if you mill yourself, you win the game instead of lose. Then there is one of my favourite artifacts in my Squirrel deck, Vopal Sword. This is a lot of mana to actually go and kick off, but if you actually do it right, you have the potential to really do it. So I have like sack outlets for my squirrels. I also make a lot of treasure tokens and stuff like that, so I do end up with a lot of mana in that deck. So I do play this and have knocked people out of the game for this. And again, I know it's not the win the other person loses, but I thought this would be a cool card. I was also picturing like a Rona or Zora with the Vopal Sword. Raccoon version would be really cool. And then the only thing I can think of when it comes to this is any form of poison counters. Anything that gives poison counters or anything like that, or doubles poison counters, is a really cool way to win. Now my thoughts in this so far overall is this caught my interest. Secret layers lately, when it comes to especially the deck ones, have not really been catching my interest, but I do think this has potential. But when it comes to Magic and Wizards and stuff like that, with what they've been releasing lately, I'll get my hopes up, or I think it'll be something cool, and then I get disappointed. I'm not sure if it's my expectations are really high, or if it's one of those things that I'm kind of used to the old Magic ways, and they're releasing more of stuff for people that are like Fortnite players, that they like other franchises in kind of their games. If you don't know what I'm on about, I do have a really long video explaining my thoughts and feelings of how Magic's been lately, but I still want to make these type of contents because I love making these videos and I love seeing people's reactions and comments and stuff. So I do find that talking about this stuff is, even if I'm not really liking it, a good opportunity to get other people's opinions. So overall, I'm perfectly 50-50 on this. So far I want it because the really cool raccoon art is in a load of cards in my decks, and I would really like to, this is my playstyle of random funny win cons and stupid stuff like that. Like I have a stacks deck that literally just makes it, like I put like Enchanted Evening and Sphere of Safety so no one can attack me, and then I just kind of wait for the cards like the, if you have 50 or 40 life you win, or Second Son. That is the deck in a nutshell, with loads of draw to get there faster. And I also have a pure black vampire deck that the whole point is it's every card that says you lose life, you gain life, you gain life, you lose life, so that win con as well. I have other variations and stuff, but I'm not going on a big rant here. So this deck is my style. The only disappointing thing I've seen so far is I'm kind of meh with Liliana's contract in here, mainly because it's already got one that is way better and beautiful. I actually got that secret layer. But then also, I thought at least the 20 cards should be in a raccoon alt art, and especially because these decks are usually quite pricey. They usually are over 100 quid. Then I'm like, depending on the pricing of this is what I'm realistically going to get it or not. I'm going to go through that deck list, and if I have a bunch of the cards, I'm not going to get it, especially if I don't have a bunch of the cards in the raccoon art. But now we're on to my favourite part of the video, where I want to see your thoughts and opinions when it comes to this. I like having conversations with people that enjoy Magic the Gathering too. So if you think any cards that should be in here, is it worth getting or anything like that, put your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. And while you're down there, remember to like and subscribe and do all that YouTubey stuff. If you like this video, I have more Magic content here. I have playlists of Magic the Gathering stuff I do here, and a subscribe button here, and I will see you all in the next video.